Mm.
Okay, welcome everybody. We're doing chapter 2 today. And yeah, we begin. We're gonna
Okay.
dive into a deeper understanding of God.
The purpose of creation. Ooh, that sounds like a heavy topic. Number one, the Creator's desire to bestow good. Okay, number one, God's purpose in creation was to bestow of His good to another. God alone is true perfection, free of all deficiency, and there is no perfection comparable to Him. Any imaginable perfection, with the exception of God, is therefore not true perfection. Other things may be said to have perfection, but it is only relative to something less perfect. Absolute perfection, however, is only that of a God. Okay. Since God desired to bestow good, a partial good would not be sufficient. The good that he bestows would have to be the ultimate good that his handiwork could accept. God alone, however, is the only true good, and therefore his benefit, beneficent desire would not be satisfied unless it could bestow that very good, namely the true perfect good that exists in his intrinsic essence. So does that mean that the good that he bestows in us is a piece of him? Is that what it
Yeah.
means?
Yeah.
Okay.
So like it's the thing of like we're all ma'at, they say ma'at melokim is that we're just a little bit less than God, meaning like when we're made in the image of God, he's given us all the attributes, the
Right.
godly attributes.
Oh.
So let's just start at the top a second with number one. So number one is that the purpose of creation is to bestow good, his good onto others. And I think it's just a really important reminder, like sometimes we're in a space where we're super negative,
Yes.
and when we're trying to like heal or we're trying to create healthy habits, it's really important to kind of, even when things are challenging, to
Mhm.
try to see the good in things because it's so easy for us to see the negative. And
Yeah.
when we're in a place where we're like, oh, is this good? Is it not good? A lot of us try to make sense of the pieces. But if we instead, rather than looking at the pieces themselves, we kind of step away and we're like, okay, rather than look at the pieces, we're going to look at the person, the God actually orchestrating the pieces. It might make it easier. It's like if you walked into a surgeon in the middle, into a surgery in the middle of surgery, and when the guy's cut open, and if you like watch, let's say, like a open heart surgery, and you see the doctor take somebody's heart out of his chest, depending on when you show up, what you're perceiving, um, you could perceive it as positive or negative, depending on where you're at. Meaning, if I think the biggest challenge that most of us have is that when we're perceiving things, we're perceiving the things rather than building the trust with the people in our life. So when we build healthy relationships, what we're doing is we're, again, nobody's perfect, but we build a sense of trust. The
Mhm.
foundation is this trust that this person will always advocate for us. So when we decide to go into a relationship, either with a partner or with friends, what we're doing is we usually stay in relationships with people that we know will advocate for us, that think fondly of us, that
Mhm.
wish us well. And when there's something that kind of feels off, we'll kind of challenge it and be like, 1 second, can you explain yourself, And more often than not, there were just some pieces missing in the sense that we didn't have all the facts.
Right.
So I think it's kind of a similar when we're trying to understand our relationship with God. And when we think about the
Mhm.
things in our life, the way that we are able to have a healthier relationship with the pieces of our life
Yeah.
is like creating a healthier relationship with God.
Mm.
Make sense?
Yeah. Yeah. I was actually I'm actually this is the main topic right now, what's going on in my head. And I I hear myself talking about it and it sounds so stupid. So I just keep it now inside and it's just like on a rinse cycle and a repeat in my head. And I can't find the way out. So the thing is that I feel like I can give you a long list every single day of all the complaints I have, all the things that are not okay, that I can't go right. I'm trying so hard. I'm not getting there. Um, and there's so much good. There's so much good. And this whole like writing down the good, and then it just like I have such resistance doing that. It's to me, it's like so stupid, you know? It's like so stupid, but it's huge. It's huge. It probably can make a difference. But like I was just had a conversation with Eliran. I'm like, wow, I had such a crazy day yesterday. It was like one terrible thing after the other. And then he looked at it and he's like, are you kidding? Everybody would pay millions of dollars to have your life and experience a day like that, where these tiny little things went wrong, but look at the bigger picture of things. You have you have love, you have children, you have health, um, you have height. I don't know where that came in from, but he's very like I don't think I've ever appreciated my height, but he appreciates it. So I appreciate that he appreciates it. And you have friends, and you have
People
we're
that
building
love
a
you.
house. What?
You have people that love you in your life.
Exactly. You love people, you have people that love you. And as he's saying it to me, it sounds true. And I feel ashamed that I complained about the dumbest things in the world. I used to make fun of people that like I couldn't pay rent or have electricity, and they're complaining about their nails chipped.
Yeah.
Like I can't, but this is what I'm sounding like now. I
Okay.
think we all do in whichever, it's relative, because there's always something that could be worse, right? But even if he's talking about all those beautiful things in my life, I felt like he's talking about someone else. Like I'm not able to connect to it for some reason.
Mm.
And now you're saying it's a Hashem thing again? Like everything boils down to Hashem?
Yeah. So so what I would say is I actually was doing a little bit of research in the morning. Sometimes it's on Instagram.
The research came to
I
you?
know, right? Isn't that yeah. So there's this philosopher and I mean I've been watching him for years and I have some of his books. He's pretty incredible and he has something called the School of Life. And he was actually talking about this thing on emotion and it's just like we can start walking and cycling through the emotions. And he actually has this really great visual where he's like, like literally how he kind of almost put each one on a scale in the morning, like, okay, unloved, ungrateful, like whatever it is, we kind of shove it onto the scale or it kind of just flows through us. And these things cycle through us a whole day. The thing is not letting it get stuck. So I think that human nature, like the reason all of this is written down is because so much of what we feel and believe is human nature. And obviously, it has a position in the makeup of who we are, like all the complexity of the negative and the positive and all the jumble of it.
Mm.
So I don't think it's looking at yourself in a bad light and saying, "Oh, I'm so ungrateful." It's
Mm.
just coming down to that human aspect of, "Oh, I'm just human."
Right.
So that's number one. And then number two, um, the relationship even with God is something that is nurtured on a daily basis. But the thing is, it's what is that relationship? So when we're practicing this thing of like understanding that he only bestows good, right? So rather than looking at all the little things in our life, are they good? Are they not good? Look at where they're sourced from, right? And when we're looking at the source, when we start looking at the source,
Mm.
you start building trust. But if we
Right.
see the pieces on their own, it's much harder to build a relationship with them, or
Mm-hmm.
a healthy relationship with them.
Okay.
So even if when we're building our own personal life, building a business, building a family, building, with a relationship with a partner, if we look at all of those factors as isolated factors, we see them as individual pieces. Like yesterday, for example, when Moishi went to put tefillin on the dentist. So he went to the dentist. I've been bothering him. He needs to go back to the dentist for at least a week, right? And I'm like, Mike, you got to go back. You have to, like, whatever. He had some situation that
Right.
really needed taken care of. Pink Tea went on that day. And like, that's a dentist office that there aren't that many religious Jews that go into them, right?
Right.
He's a really great dentist. And it was that day, his first time, like it was like this very the way that whole thing was positioned was like when he came home that day, I was like, you could see how every piece of that was put together so perfectly. Like you can't make this stuff up, you
Right.
know? You can't make this stuff up, you know? So whatever, we were just like laughing about it because he was like, you see, like you didn't need to bother me. I said, no, as a woman, my job is to bother you. So that's a separate thing, you know? But the point was that everything had its isolated factor. Now, if I focused on that one part of, oh, he's not going to the dentist, he's not being responsible, he's not taking care of himself, and I start with my rant of zeroing in on that one thing, I could chip away at this person's character on so many levels, right? And we're all, as humans, so complex now. And we're so, well versed when it comes to critique that we can take anyone apart. I
Yeah.
saw such a powerful quote this morning also. Like a boy growing is like growing a forest that's on fire at the same time. He has
Wow.
to grow faster than the fire burns. Like
Wow.
we're constantly we're constantly in this space of like it's so easy to sabotage.
Yeah.
You have to kind of when we start to understand that there's a process to things, when we say something, it's not about the thing itself. It's not like, oh, he must go to the dentist. It was, no, there's a process to this.
Yeah.
There's a process, and I have to trust in the process. And by
Right.
trusting the process, it all aligned
Yeah.
in a way that I couldn't understand.
Yeah.
And I find that like part of the magical part of falling in love, right? And this is not only with other humans, but with life itself and God, is these little magical surprises that show up that are not logical, that we haven't orchestrated. And
Right.
yesterday was one of those moments where it really was this strong reminder of I can't make this up. Like I couldn't orchestrate that.
Right.
There's no way I could have put that together.
So you're
But
saying you're saying letting go and letting God, right? Letting go and letting God. Where
it's
we
letting
feel
go. I think letting go is passive. This is more active. This is
okay.
more of proactive of saying I'm going to trust, right?
Okay. Right.
It's a proactive. And I think that yes, there's certain things we have to let go of, but
Right.
this is a proactive thing of when you want to be in a relationship with somebody, you need to be proactive.
Right. Right.
There's no such thing, there's no relationship
Right.
that's a passive relationship.
Right. So
You
my
have to
question is,
participate.
right. So my question is, if let's say you don't have a practice, not, I don't think I ever did that, just to have that reminder and or that lens on that I am not alone. I am not in charge of things. I am doing my best, and I have a supporter. I have Hashem, right? So
Yeah.
like I have to be reminded to remember this. Like it
Yeah.
doesn't come naturally to me. Like even in school, I grew up, all surrounded by that. You have to, Hashem is here from the beginning.
Yeah.
There was nothing attached to it. Just like I was saying, there wasn't so much
Yeah.
attached to when he was telling me all the things I have the great things in my life I should be grateful for. It's not sticking, it's
So
like
so
snow
because
on the wet
I'll tell
floor.
you why. And part of this is because we again, it's like a puzzle that is more it's more like a Rubik's cube that like the pieces are all in the wrong place. So it looks like a square, but the colors are all jumbled.
Yeah.
Part of that reason is because it's like either we're attaching certain things to the wrong identity. So when you think of Hashem, or you think of like, okay, let's go to this scenario of him telling you all the great things in your life. The disconnect is coming from a place of, oh, I either the idea or that was programmed into you that either you have to deserve it or somebody's going to maybe punish you for the good attributes that you like. If you've suffered because of your good attributes, like for an attribute, then there's trauma connected to it.
Wow.
So that's like, so it depends on your relationship with it. Or if you see that, like, we'll use tall, for example. If you think there's some ego thing related to being tall, right? Like, oh,
It's not ego. It's more like I don't like standing out.
okay. So the thing is, right. So if you have a negative relationship with standing out,
Yeah.
right, and it's not positive,
Right.
then when somebody mentions it,
Right.
the thing that's attached to it is negative.
Negative. Esther, you should like you should be Dr. Esther.
We are just creations of God. We are going to we are diving into this part. But
Oh,
yeah, so I think the thing is when we attach certain things, when we have the wrong idea or attachments towards things, that's the first part. The second part is not being in a place where we can absorb it.
okay.
And so the thing is like this. If we understand our basic fundamentals is that we are human. Every single human's made the same. Every single human. There's no such thing as a human that isn't made the same. We all have to eat, sleep, our bodily functions all work the same. Our brain works the same. We can choose to do different things,
Yeah.
but at the end of the day, the way a human is created is the same.
Yeah.
We're not asked to do anything more than human things, practices on a day-to-day basis. Where our problem comes in is where we think we have to be superhuman. So when problems show up in our life or challenges show up in our life, we think we have to push a boundary of humanity instead of say, I'm going to do my share. I'm going to do my part and let God kind of trust that he will bestow the good in this scenario, you know?
Right.
The thing is kind of a lot of times we'll interject, we'll interrupt, we'll create those blockages from allowing any of the good to even come into our life. So it's not like it's not even there, it's there. We've just been so, I'd say, proactive about the complaining and the perpetual negativity that even when it could be standing right in front of us, because we're so used to putting out that negative, it becomes this kind of blockage for any or resistance to anything good actually
That's exactly
coming into our
how
life.
I feel.
And if you think of it like I say this when it comes to yoga and stuff, like, if you're kind of tensing up a muscle, tensing it up makes it strong and hard and shorter, right? So a muscle, when it's tense, it gets shorter, right? So even as we age, there's less flexibility. When there's less flexibility, they say as we get older, we get a little shorter. So you're not going to stand out then. So don't worry.
But everyone else is getting shorter too. I'm still gonna
I
call
know.
the shorty.
So the thing is that it's always about kind of aligning the spine and keeping that flexibility. Now, to keep that so when we're stressed, a headache comes from like tension of muscles. It comes from that intensity. When we learn and when we're proactive, right? Everything has its place. So being proactive, let's say working out and all of that is really important. But then you have to like relax the muscles also. And throughout the day, we have to be in a place where we're soft and relaxing and like in that space where we're relaxing, are the kind of the tension. So I think as we move through the day, as we move through life, we have to kind of just pay attention to where we have the tension, and is that tension connected to the lack of trust?
Wow.
Like notice when you tense up, like notice your body, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. It's a lot to think about. And I also, yeah, I definitely think that that negative muscle is really tense and needs to let go. And not to let go, it needs to trust.
So the solution really is, I mean, and this is something I can credit my mother for, is just do your daily human practices of like when you're in a place where you're like, I don't know what to do, and we freak out. All of us have those days, and the whole world is ending, and we're in that negative space.
Yeah, whole
Take
world
the
is.
time to say, I'm human, and I'm just going to continue doing human things
Mhm.
and let go of the things I don't have control of. But I'm going to be proactive about trusting
Right,
in the practices that I can do routinely.
right.
And usually that solves the problem.
Okay.
Whenever I'm doing a session with somebody, a private session, that is usually one of the first things I start with. Have you eaten? Have you slept? Have you moved today? Have you had a spiritual practice of sorts? And usually one of those four, the answer is no.
Yeah.
So it kind of really
I
nails
could say
down.
the spiritual practice does not get any attention.
Okay.
Yeah. Um, which is like I'm always curious about it, like you're a big meditator and people think that I am also obviously because I'm a yoga teacher, so I must obviously be meditating all day in between classes. And I can't bring myself to meditate. And even if I try, it's so forced and it's also not sticking, the same
Mhm.
thing. But I would consider this a spiritual
Yeah.
today. So, and it usually does definitely give me that extra boost for the day for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, and also, yeah, I think practicing yoga, which I don't do every day, but when I do it, it definitely gives me some kind of energy boost. Wow. Like there's no vitamin D and there's
Yeah.
no coffee that could do that.
Yeah. No, I hear
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Should we finish this page? Because I know you need to
Yes. Thank you,
make
Esther, for
sure.
being
Yeah.
so mindful of that and amazing. Yes, do you want to read it or should I read it?
Do you mind? And then I'll do to next time.
Yeah, okay, yes. Okay, so we are up to yeah, this is also true in another way. True good exists only in God. His wisdom, therefore, decreed that the nature of his true benefaction be his giving created things the opportunity to attach themselves to him to the greatest degree possible for them. Was that English? I don't know.
No, but we'll continue.
Okay. Therefore, even though created things cannot emulate God's perfection in their own right, the fact that they can be attached to Him allows them to partake of it, since they can be considered part of God's perfection as a result of their association with Him. They can thus derive pleasure from that true good to the greatest, what's the
I'll
next word?
continue. Degree possible for them. The purpose of all that was created was therefore to bring into existence a creator who could derive pleasure from God's a creature, sorry, a creature who can derive pleasure from God's whole own good in a way that would be possible for it. And that's the completion of number one.
Wow.
I think like letting that penny drop, whereas we're in this world to have pleasure. There's a genuine pleasure. There's a satisfaction that we're all supposed to be feeling. And when we're in a place where we're like, no, I want to be in control of this, I think that's when we all suffer. So it's kind of surrendering to knowing there's a higher power, building a relationship with God that, and again, the reason we have, friends and partners and children and all the things in our life is, yes, they are all complex, but at the end of the day, there's this kind of genuine satisfaction and genuine pleasure that is there.
Yeah.
And when you're able to kind of know that that in itself is an extension of God, you can kind of take those attributes, those healthy attributes that you have with the healthy people in your life,
Mm.
and kind of also build the same practice with your connection with God. So, like
Yeah.
a spiritual practice would be actively participating in that relationship, in knowing that, okay, even when I see these isolated incidents that might not look good or feel good
Yeah.
or don't make sense, trusting that there's a bigger picture.
Yeah.
And like I could say for my own life that I've been through a lot. And if you ask me if I would change anything, maybe some of it.
Mm.
And the some of it that I would change is the suffering I bestowed upon myself.
Mm.
So there were situations that I've been put in that have made me a better person, right? So like God put me in certain situations, and yes, I think I've become a better person. I love the person I've become.
Yeah.
But what I do notice is where my brain goes when things aren't okay. And
Mm.
that's like the extra suffering. And whenever I have this conversation with anyone, and I'm like, are you willing to let go of that? Like that idea that like, don't fall in love with your suffering, and suffer um pain and suffering doesn't prove your authenticity. Like for a lot of people, they look for
Like
friendships in people that are
a badge people wear,
authentic.
like,
Exactly. The
yeah.
pain and suffering. Oh, this person must be authentic because they've suffered. It's
Mm.
like, what about, and that will tell us a lot about our own nature as well, as in like what we attract.
Yeah.
And are we attracted to the people that are happy and simple and like just are consistent, Um, and is that interesting for us?
Yeah.
And for myself, when I got to that point where I was like, I want a partner that it has simplicity and consistency.
Yeah.
And I was like, it is so underestimated. People have no idea how underestimated that is.
Yeah.
But I know when my brain's in an unhealthy place when I want trouble,
Yeah.
So it's knowing that when you begin to build healthy practices, you look for boring. Not boring as in nothing there, but you
Right.
look for a sense of equilibrium, we'll say.
Yeah. Equilibrium is a good word.
And you look for a place where there's a genuine contentment. And I think that's the point.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that what I'm getting such a clear message right now is that I was focusing so much on letting go, right? But but that was just the first step, and now there needs to be something more. I need to take some kind of action,
Yeah.
right? So that means that letting go of the perfection, letting go of the crazy things going on around us that we don't have control over. And take with you, like in my mind, it's not so much like a pair of glasses, like seeing life through a different lens. It's more like grabbing a hand and taking that thing with me, just feeling its presence there.
Yeah.
And interesting that I have a little bit of judgment to people that are so strong in that belief that it's so unwavering. Like the
Yeah.
crazy stuff could happen, and they're like, this is God's will. I just. And I totally judge them. And every time I judge someone, I already know this. I am pure jealous.
Oh,
It's,
I'm
it's,
jealous too.
it's so, come on, you're that person.
No, I'm not that person. I wish I was that person.
Yeah. Well,
Uh,
yeah. So and even the way I teach class is where I am up to, what I'm working on. And for so long, I was saying, let it, let go, let go. It's harder than lifting things to put them down. But let go. And then and yesterday, it's funny, yesterday's class, when I had everyone in child pose, I was like, we're going to start letting go more and more into the mat because we're going to also at the same time start trusting the ground beneath us that it has us. So there's no reason for us to be holding on to anything.
Mm.
And then I also, from like not realizing what I'm saying, I'm like, and also notice Hashem is there. So you could also put down all your problems. Just put it down because if he's there, you don't need to hold it. He's holding it for you.
Yeah.
So like it's so weird that like we have some kind of answers. It's and I didn't see it, but then when you said it, I saw it.
Mm.
So that's interesting how also how we need people in our life just to even get to know ourselves better
Yeah.
and get to the places we want to get to. So, and
Yeah.
like that it has to be the right people, the ones that are
Yeah.
stable and you know, have
But
integrity.
I think when we're trying, if you're asking about like the actual detailed practice of like, well, how do I do this? Right?
Yeah.
Like, for matter of fact, it's going into your day. There's that letting go component of letting go of I have no control over specifics, but I'm going to use trust to trust in it. So there has to be, that's the active component. And then the second active component is going into your day and being the best version of yourself. Like there's a different vibration when you trust somebody and you don't. There's a different vibration. There are different thoughts that start going through your head when you
Yeah.
trust in a process or you don't, even if it's a really bad situation.
Yeah.
So it's when we kind of this is the resilience of the Jewish nation. The resilience is there are certain things I have no control over.
Right.
But what I do have control over is constantly being the best version of myself. And that means it doesn't mean building an ego.
Right.
It's going into your day and saying, I'm going to cook the best meal. I'm going to be the best person at my job. I'm going to be the best mother I can to my children. I'm going to be the best self to myself.
Yeah.
um there's a job that I'm doing right now and I'm kind of a lot of problem solving. And somebody asked me like, why are you like going into the longevity of this? And this was even before I took this specific position. Do you plan on being here forever? And I said, no, but whatever, when I'm here today, I'm going to give it
Put it
the
your
energy that
all.
I have today,
Yeah.
that forever energy. And if
Yeah.
we do that for everything,
Wow.
we build an ecosystem. But if
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm only going to love you if you love me back. So I'm only giving you one cookie. I'm
Right.
not giving you the recipe. You know what
Right.
I mean? Why
Right.
not give everybody the recipe? We'll all get fat and have cookies.
They're so cute.
But you know what I'm saying? Like, why, you know what I'm saying? Everybody holds on to their secrets and their recipes and their like the secrets of life. The more if we put out forever energy,
Yeah.
which is godly energy, into everything we do,
Right.
that's what we'll become. And there will be an abundance of
Abundance.
goodness out there. And
Yeah.
it'll it'll just be, we'll
Yeah.
all be happy. So with that, we will
That was beautiful,
close the
Esther.
session.
This is the best episode yet.
Yes, it is. It really, really is. And they will only get better.
I
And
know.
I am thankful for you for this practice. And thank you for showing
You.
up. And thank you for being the greatest friend.
Oh,
And I'm grateful for you. And
so grateful for you
I'm
too.
grateful for this
Feel
friendship
it. It's
also.
sticking.
I know it is. It really, really is. Have a beautiful class, and we will see you soon.
Okay, great. And have a beautiful day, Esther. I'll talk to
You.
you
Yes.
like very, very shortly.
Yes.
Okay,
Bye.
love you.
Love you
Bye.
too.